Hot observables versus cold observables. In this video, I will show you how to create a hot observable and how to create a cold observable. And also, I will show you how to convert a cold observable into a hot observable. Now, by definition, a cold observable is an observable sequence which do not generate items unless they are subscribed, whereas hot observables are a stream of objects which keep emitting object regardless of whether they have been subscribed or not. So for the purpose of this demo, I will use a simple class called item, which is the item in our sequence, and it has just one property called GUID, which will identify which object it is. We are assigning value to GUID in the constructor, right? So let's begin. Alright, so let's first create. I have got snippets of all this code so that I don't use lot of time. So let's say, okay, so this is a class. I've just created one simple class called cold observable, which will create a cold observable. Alright, so let's okay. Right, system.reactive.link. So this class creates a cold observable. How? It just does enumerable.range from 0 to I think 1,000,000, and then for all those items it selects a new item. So for every new item generated in the sequence, it will have a new GUID, and we call the toObservable extension method on it. So now this will create a cold observable. As soon as we call start, it will create cold observable. So okay, so observable.start. Now what I will do is I will do this. So observable, right? So okay, yeah, ignore this for now. Okay, no, yeah, you can keep it. It's just observable dot subject. Alright, so in our cold observable, I have created a subject, and on that I have assigned, so I mean basically this subject is not a subject, it's just observable of item, and I have assigned my observable to that property, right? So I will call observe on new thread, and then subscribe, and within subscribe I'll just put a sleep of 1 second, and that's the reason I have just I'm observing on a new thread, and print out what's there. So now I will also do console.readline so that it stops there. Now let's see what happens. Right, so it is creating some items. But now let's see what happens when we create another subscription, right, on another thread. What happens? Let's call it 2, right? So see what happens. So number 1, observe on, something has gone wrong here. Something has gone wrong. Why are we not getting 2? New thread, not scheduler. Okay, new thread scheduler default. New quit. Oh, all right. Okay, so as you can see, every time a new item is generated on either of these subscription, they are different items. So check this, 1 and 2, they have different GUIDs. So every subscription creates its own copy of item, right? So now let's move to hot observable, right? So let me first copy paste in hot observable class here, and I'll take you through what I'm doing here. So the thing is, later on I will convert the cold observable into hot observable, and you will see that when we do that, every subscription will get the same copy of the item, right? But let's change this to hot observable. Right now, what is hot observable? So in hot observable, what I'm doing is I'm creating a timer, and at intervals of 1 second, I'm producing items, right? So on timer lapse, I call subject.onNext, and new item is created, right? I don't need this. I'll just get rid of this, and so let me comment out this line. Right now, let's see what happens here. Okay, yeah, so we are getting items. Now let's create another subscription and see what happens. So you can see, yeah, so 1 and 2, these two items are the same, right? This and this is same. So both subscriptions are getting the same items in hot observable, right? Because hot observable produces items regardless of subscription, and it does that on a fixed time interval because of this timer, right? So yeah, I mean, if I just remove this thread.sleep from here, it will be a bit more clear. See, those two subscriptions are getting exactly the same item, right? So now say again, if I go back to cold observable, now I want my what I want to do is I want to convert my cold observable to a hot observable, right? So to do that, what I will do is, let me just copy paste this code first, and I'll show you in a minute what happens here. So okay, so I create a cold observable and I call the start on cold observable, which will do nothing, just assign the enumerable dot range to observable to the subject. So this is still cold observable. Now the thing is, what we will do is we'll create a connectable observable by calling the method publish on the I observable, right? So basically subject is our I observable. The name is a little bit incorrect here, but yeah, this is I observable. So as soon as I call publish on I observable, we get something called connectable observable. We get connectable observable, and then we subscribe on that connectable observable, right? On the connectable observable we subscribe, and then okay, let's see what happens here. We subscribe, okay, nothing happens. So to start connectable observable to produce items, we need to call connect method. What will happen here is, you see now both subscriptions are getting exactly the same item, right? So this is how we heat up a cold observable. Right, guys? Alright, thank you.